Nah, Israel yang sekarang bagaimana? Kita masih mengharapkan Mesias atau tidak? Tidak, Mesias sudah datang. Sudah selesai. 2000 lebih tahun yang lalu, Yesus Kristus sudah datang sebagai Mesias. Nah, signifikansi kemesiasan atau signifikansi mesianik bangsa Israel yang sekarang itu apa? Nah, ini jadi orang Kristen jangan bodoh dong ya. Membesar-besarkan Israel seolah-olah kalau mengutuk Israel, dikutuk Tuhan. Kalau memberkati Israel akan diberkati Tuhan. Itu sekarang tidak relevan lagi. Karena konteks mesianiknya sudah lewat. Mereka justru menolak Mesias. Mereka justru menolak Tuhan Yesus. Mereka justru menolak keselamatan dari Tuhan dan Juru Selamat yang menciptakan dan memelihara mereka. Memilih mereka menjadi satu bangsa yang pilihan. Saudara. Jadi saudara, tidak relevan itu sekarang menerapkan prinsip ini. Siapa memberkati Israel akan diberkati, siapa mengutuk Israel akan dikutuk. Konteks mesianiknya apa? Sudah lewat, sudah tidak ada. Mereka toh menolak Yesus Kristus. Mereka toh sudah menolak Mesias yang dijanjikan. Ya.
Sekarang Fakta Israel berkesempatan mewawancarai Pastor Ruben, pastor yang baru saja selesai memimpin ibadah tadi. Beliau seorang Yahudi yang sudah menjadi Kristen atau Mesianik. Yuk kita dengerin apa kata Pastor Ruben.
It refuses to understand what the Bible teaches. And it was very clear to the apostles. Paul says it very clearly in the book to the Romans. He says, has God rejected his people? He says, of course not. And we see that the Roman Church was beginning to think that God had rejected Israel, and that they were now the new Israel and a replacement for Israel. And Paul was teaching them several things. One thing was that God had taken them, the Gentiles, from a wild olive tree, and he was grafting them onto the olive tree of faithful Israel. Not all of Israel, but faithful Israel from the time of Abraham to the time of the early believers. And then Paul was saying to them they should not be ignorant of this mystery, and that they should not be proud towards the natural olive branches, which are the Israelites, because the time will come that God will graft the Jewish people back into their own olive tree. And the Gentile believers are taken from their wild pagan olive tree and are grafted into the olive tree of faithful, believing Israel. And Paul says, be careful, because you only stand by faith. And God is, he says very clearly that God is faithful to his covenants and to his promises in the same chapter. He is faithful to Israel in the covenants and promises that he has given her, and the Redeemer will come to Zion and turn Israel from her transgression, and all of Israel will be saved. So that means that the Gentiles who believe are not a replacement. They're not a new Israel or the spiritual Israel. They are grafted in to the holy Israel, which Jesus, the apostles, Moses, and the whole remnant of Israel was part of. And we see today in Israel and over the world that the Holy Spirit is revealing Jesus to the Jewish people once again, and we are grafted back into our own tree, not the Gentile tree, the wild olive tree, but our own cultivated olive tree. And if you read all of Romans 9, 10, and 11 carefully, you can see without a question of a doubt that replacement theology is a big lie. It's a trick of the devil, and it's a form of anti-Semitism. If people understand it or they don't understand it, that is the reality. And therefore Paul says, be humble and do not be proud to the natural olive branches, because God is able and will graft them back into their own tree again.